A recent Wall Street Journal poll found that more Americans now believe that the American dream is either dead or dying. Only 36% of those polled say if you work hard, you'll get ahead. And Gallup says 80% of Americans are dissatisfied with the way things are going in the United States. So what's happened to American values and the American way of life? Are they gone forever, or is there still hope? Well, here with us is Christy Stutzman. She's wife of former Indiana Congressman Marlin Stutzman. She's author of the new book, The Spiritual Price of Political Silence. Christy, it's good to have you with us. So what spiritual price are Americans paying for this decline in belief in the American dream and our dissatisfaction with the country's direction?
Well, for a long time, the church has been silent. And so when I talk about the spiritual silence that we have been involved with as people of faith, it's a real thing. And, we all have that rule at the table, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, when we go to grandma's house, no talking about religion or politics. Well, I think that day is over. I think it's time to be bold about where we stand on the issues, what we believe, because our faith and people of faith have been under attack for a long time. We've actually been targeted, and we've been intimidated into being silent. And so we are paying a spiritual price for our political silence. And so it's time to speak up and be involved.
I've heard many Christians over the years say, oh, Christians can't be involved in politics. That's too dirty. We're above that. But we saw the consequences of that with prayer in schools and abortion, things like that. So what was the turning point for the country?
Well, I think there was a misconception that was spread in the church and people of faith across the country right around the turn of the century. We forgot that our government is unique in the history of the world. Our government is made up of we the people. So when we complain about our leadership comes from we the people. And so really it is on us to decide who our leaders are and whether we want to run and be involved. And so it's not like we have a king or a queen or a dictatorship. We actually govern ourselves. And so I think that was a misconception that was spread a long time ago, saying, well, politics is ugly. And it is. It's never been pretty, even with the founding fathers. When you read their letters and you read their arguments and their debates, it was very healthy debate, and it was very spirited. And that's always been a part of it. But, a healthy dialogue and a healthy debate is something that we miss in this country. It has been degraded down into name calling and just very hateful words and speeches instead of civil dialogue. And I think if we start more of that at the dinner table, then we're not going to have this huge divide in our country. We're actually going to come together and be able to talk civilly and be able to agree to disagree or come to an agreement together on different issues.
Well, you're in a small town in Indiana, so a lot of this toxic dialogue, or not even debate anymore, just shouting at one another, seems to be coming on social media. But you're in a small town, so what are people there in the Heartland saying about it?
Well, we all see the federal level. We all see, the ads that are on our TVs or listen to the radio and hear all of the shocking news titles and things like that. But when you really get involved in your local community politics, it's not quite as bad as what you see on the TV. And that's what I try to talk about in my book. The Spiritual Price of Political Silence talks about how we can be silent no more, how we can actually go to work and be involved in small ways and big ways, on the community level, on the state level, on the federal level. And it's easier than you think. So there's a refresher course of our Judeo-Christian founding. We all need to be reminded about that because that's been hidden and taken away in our schools. And then there's a study on the humanist Marxist cultural phenomenon that we have seen over the last 100 years here in America, where it came from and how we've been targeted and how our children have been targeted. And then step by step, how to be involved at every level, whether it's just, making something for a Lincoln Day dinner or a Reagan dinner, or whether it's going to a campaign event, whether it's walking in a parade, or whether it's just communicating with a campaign manager for someone who you support. There's so many ways to be involved, and it's easier than you think.
Well, we're seeing rising anti-Semitism just because someone is Jewish and supports Israel. Also, people are attacked and shot at for no apparent reason. Why is this happening?
It's been an undercurrent in our culture for a long time. And like I said, we have been targeted for the last 100 years by cultural humanist Marxists who do not believe that there is a God, who want to see man evolve into some transhuman form. And they are very blatant and bold about it. So they have been infiltrating our schools, our media, the curriculum, and they've been erasing our history. It's been a concerted effort for a long time. And I think the church and people of faith are finally starting to wake up. But that undercurrent of anti-Semitism goes right along with the anti-authoritarianism that exists in that mindset of humanist Marxists. So there is an elite, and there are also just the rest of us, that they see as just folks that have to have their faith and rely on that. They don't see it as legitimate. And so you won't see scientists who believe in creation being tapped as experts in interviews and things like that. It is a concerted effort, and it's been here for a long time.
Okay, the book is The Spiritual Price of Political Silence. Christy Stutzman, thank you for providing those insights.
Thank you so much for having me.